Like, what are we doing here?
They look at both ways too, like both sides. Like, who the hell are these guys?
Well, you know, letting go to the strike one.
All right, we are live, baby. We are live. We are live. We are live. What's up, Nay Nay? Oh, oh my God, bro. Yo, in the Arabic language, the word Amir means prince. And I
Mm.
almost called him Amir because he looking like a prince, baby. What's up,
That's Ezra Nazir. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Arabic,
baby?
Arabic for God's helper.
El
Hey, you know what's
Chico.
crazy? What's crazy, Vic? Is
Yeah.
that's how your hair looked about 5 years ago, bro.
Bro, you know
Yeah.
what? Just keep Chico on the screen, okay? Because he's a lot more pleasant to look at than you.
Oh man.
Oh,
Word. You hear them
oh.
we
talking about me?
we gonna see if his first words are either gonna be alert, alert, or Omaha, Omaha. We're gonna find out. Oh my God. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing, man? I'm gonna share these links
Yeah.
till
Man,
we
so
get going and get rolling.
all 22 point of view, live on the scene. Now, views reviews for the 22 live on the scene. Here, we here. He's sharing some links. We got Vic Jr. in the background. We got Vic. Hey man, this is gonna be a really interesting show. I want y'all to make sure that y'all get, y'all don't need popcorn for this. Get yourself a nice drink. Cause some of y'all fans need a hard drink for some of these factuals. But nah, man. Hope y'all having a good day. Hope everybody had a great day. Vic, how you doing, bro? You good, man?
Good man. I'm being forced to work overtime today by y'all.
Um,
Overtime.
well, you
Uh,
know,
no taxes on overtime hasn't kicked in yet. You know.
no, it's kicked in already.
You see how can't believe you guys. You know. Extra
Well,
work today.
this is the easiest work you've done, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Clearly.
Um, but it's
Mm.
but hey, just like Mo tagged me earlier in that post, and soon, hey Vic, no sooner than you said that last night, I got my first visual of Isaiah Bond today at the training camp. I sent it to the
Oh yeah.
group too.
Yeah.
I sent it
Yeah.
to the group
He's
chat. Good looking player, man.
that quick twitch. Like I said. Um. The footwork, like you said. What is? You're not a football player if your feet are not on the ground.
Nope.
Yeah,
They moving quickly and moving fast and in and out of cuts and uh stopping on a dime, like scouts like to say. That boy got he's talented receiver, man. That's gonna be interesting because and I forgot to type it too because I was busy at the same time you sent that. But I was gonna type in simply wide receiver one.
I mean,
WR1.
but I think the interesting part is right. Like when I'm watching some of the training camp reps, you know what I'm saying? Because we watch a lot of the training camp reps because those are the reps that we really care about, in practice. Because that's what those practice situations and the practice tape they say is they like those tapes more than they like sometimes the film because that's what everything is supposed to be, what everything's supposed to look like. And I'm watching Jerry Judy and Denzel Ward in like one-on-ones. Bro, Denzel is like so much like it's a gap. Bro, it's a gap.
Yeah.
Denzel is guarding him as if he knows everything he's gonna do. It's not like Jerry comes up to the line and he's like, all right, I'm worried about his route running. He comes to the line, he says, okay, you're not gonna get around me. That's why we talk about elite speed at corner being a joker card in your back pocket.
Right.
Because if you know that you can't be beat deep, you can sit on a lot of different things. So he's sitting on everything that Jerry is doing, and Jerry has to get creative to get open.
And so you got a situation where you told us yesterday about Isaiah being from Alabama. I wasn't even aware of that. And so with Judy coming from Alabama too, like that's actually a good comparison too. At least in terms of route running, the quick twitch, the in and out of cuts, the speed that they play on the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a fair comparison. Now,
Yeah.
um,
I think Bond is a little bit more explosive.
Bond might have better hands, dog.
Well, I think he does
So
because Judy to me has always been a body catcher.
Well, seems to be a theme with the Alabama receivers, and I don't want to cut this conversation short. But
But we're
we are
ready to
ready
go.
to rock. We ready to roll. A couple things before we get going. Lamar Jackson did get hurt in practice today. There's reports going around that it was like the same wrist injury
yeah,
that Joe Burrow got and all that. None of that is true. None of that is true. It was just if it was a game, he wouldn't have even been out of the game. So he'll be
my
fine.
forehead is crazy.
There were some big trades today. Somewhat, you had Harrison Phillips. For some reason, got traded to the New York Jets. That doesn't make too much sense to me, from a Viking standpoint. Devon Vele went to the Saints for the Broncos. That's hey, we need this guy. Y'all don't. Here's a couple of draft picks. Can we have him? Yeah, we don't really need him. Here you go. And then Sky Moore, same thing. Went to from the Chiefs to the 49ers. Hey, y'all don't need this guy. You're probably gonna cut him. Can we have him for a 6th round pick and we swap a 7th? Yeah, absolutely. No problem. We beat y'all in the Super Bowl twice anyway. You could have him. So nothing major, but some significance. Gives the 49ers more depth. Give the Saints some depth. And then Harrison Phillips to the Jets. Again, not really sure why that happened. If you're the Minnesota Vikings, but you can believe that I will get some research going on and see why that happened. But let's get going. We got the NFC left. We want to do this NFC show with the last 3 divisions.
12
Knock it
teams.
out. 12 teams. We got a lot to talk about. We got enough time to do it. We got the best triangle offense in the game since Jordan and Pippen. So we ready to rock, baby. Fellas, you ready to roll?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, baby. Let's start off with the NFC West. You got the Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. Now, the West has been a very intriguing division over the last several years due to the fact simply that they have had 2 teams reach the Super Bowl. They've had one of those teams win the Super Bowl. You got the Seahawks, who kind of weren't interesting up until really the last 2 seasons. And then you got the Cardinals, who there was a lot of optimism when Kyler Murray has drafted. But that sort of never come to fruition. And Jerem's going to touch on that in a little bit. Where we're going to start tonight is with the Los Angeles Rams. They signed Devontae Adams. They signed Poona Ford. And I think one of the most important signings was they re-signed Akella Witherspoon, a guy who brings a lot of value to their secondary from a playmaking standpoint, from an attitude standpoint, and from an overall leadership standpoint. Now, they lost Cooper Kupp, they lost Jonah Jackson, and they lost Neville Gallimore. But to me, the guys they brought in were all upgrades. And there are certain things they need to get better at, mainly scoring in the red zone on offense. They were actually very good defensively in the red zone, but offensively, a lot of improvements needed on short areas, on red zone, on third downs, things of that nature. So those guys will upgrade. My biggest concern, fellas, for the Rams is Matt Stafford's back. If you remember about 10 years ago, Tony Romo, we thought he was going to play more years than he ended up playing because of a back injury. And we saw the dip in performance. We saw the urge to get Dak Prescott in there. Now, the Rams have been holding this pretty close to the vest. But to me, my biggest concern for them is Matt Stafford's health. Now, on the offensive line, I got big hopes for Avila, the left guard. He's going to be the anchor. But Germ, do you have any concerns from a beef standpoint, from a physicality standpoint, when it comes to the Rams this season?
Yes, I do. I think that the Rams have a quality team, right? They don't have the star power on the offensive line. They have some rising stars on the defensive line. They have, like I said, good players. The problem is in this league, you need superstars on both sides of the ball. I think if you want to beat the teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, teams like the San Francisco 49ers on a consistent basis, it's going to take more than just Matt Stafford being a great quarterback. It's
Mhm.
going to take you having quality beef. And something that I really noticed is when you're playing teams like the Eagles, you got to go up against some of these big time guys like Jalen Carter. And then next to him is Jordan Davis. We really talked and we touched a really big time on this last night when we were studying some things. Those two players create such a big mismatch in the middle of your line because not only do they take up the big part of the middle of your line and you have to double one or both of them, it almost makes it impossible for your tackles if they can't hold their own to be able to hold up in this against the good pass rushers.
It's true.
So it gives you the thing of I don't know if they have the quality beef to be able to compete with those teams. Yes, Stafford is elite. Yes, Stafford is still he's still a great quarterback. He's still one of the few guys that we left in this league that will be maneuvering and moving in the pocket the right way, setting up to throw, making sure he makes the right reads, moving people with his eyes, all of those different things that we discuss that make elite quarterback play every Sunday. So the beef part is going to be the key. If the beef does not improve and they do not find superstars at some position, which it needs to be normally. The two most important positions on the offensive line are the left tackle and the center. You got your left tackle because he's the one who's the insurance, and the center because he's the one who touches the ball 99% of the time, just like the quarterback does. So he needs to understand how to get the rest of the line up to speed when there's a blitz coming, how to do that, because a lot of these young quarterbacks don't do that in this league now. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that can set protections. So the center is looked at as the intelligence on the line. The left tackle's the athlete and the insurance, the center's the intelligence. We got to make sure that the Rams in this situation, if they want to continue to grow, they have to get better at those two positions. And ultimately, that's where I think their ceiling really is, which is a really, really good competitive playoff team.
Mhm.
Because without quality beef, you won't beat the Eagles. It just is what it is. You're Philly cheesesteak every time you face Philly.
Vic, you heard what I said about Stafford's back. He's got an aggravated disc. They gave him an epidural injection. You heard what Jerm was saying about the physicality and the beef. Give us your thoughts on the 2025 Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team is gonna make a recovery from what the past couple of years. I like definitely bringing back a Devontae Adams. I think that definitely is it is a getting better from Cooper Cup. Simply because he can play the X, he can free Nakua up to do some more slot, to do some more things off the flanker. So that's going to be an interesting thing. But I like the rookie that they drafted, Germ, in the second round, Terrence Ferguson from Oregon. Seems like a very productive receiver, tight end. He ran a 4.63 at 6'6". 247 pounds. So that looks like a kid that, especially on the McVay offense, is going to bring a nice vertical threat as well to
Lateral
the
and vertical.
offense. So what was that?
Lateral and vertical.
Lateral
Because
and vertical.
they like to do the tight end and the flat and things like that too. So
Yeah, no, and I see a couple of routes that because again, coming from Oregon, you already know what kind of offense that means there, with a lot of spreads. So he ran a lot of vertical up the seam and looked fantastic doing it, very comfortable. So that's going to be interesting to see how they use him right now as a rookie. And then they just also extended Kyron Williams, running back, which means in terms of fantasy purposes, I think he's going to be used a lot. So anybody that's looking in terms of fantasy tip right there, I think Kyron Williams is going to be another good running back. But yeah, I like what they've done offensively,
Yeah,
man. Like, again, the beef on both sides, like we talked about, they needed to improve. So
right. And I think sometimes, a lot of times, people overlook continuity, especially when it comes to beef. So I think they got some continuity growing. And like I said, that Avila number 73, he should be the anchor. And if he plays up to the level that we expect him to, that at least that I expect him to, I think is going to do a lot of marvelous things for them. And I have high expectations for the Rams, and they are in my Super Bowl bubble. So, a team that's not in my Super Bowl bubble, fellas, just being completely frank here, is the Arizona Cardinals. Now they did some things on defense in the offseason. They drafted Walter Nolan, a favorite of yours, Germ. They drafted Will Johnson, a favorite of all of ours here. They signed Josh Sweat. They brought back Calais Campbell. One of my concerns with them is the offensive line. They were pretty good. They showed a lot of good things in run offense. Their struggles really showed and were really highlighted in the passing game. Some of that was scheme, some of that was the quarterback, but a lot of that was just them and their execution, their communication. So that's the number one thing that I need to see them improve. I think defensively, they are going to be really tough, really physical, and you're going to have to earn just about everything with them, especially in the trenches. And Kyler Murray, again, I'm just not really sure what to make of him. So, Jeremy, I'm gonna pass it to you again here. I don't know if you want to talk about Kyler Murray, but we can certainly discuss Walter Nolan and Will Johnson and those two rookies who they drafted and their contributions.
Real quick, Kyler Murray is really simple. It's maturity. You know that your job is to protect the football. You know that your job is to make sure that you do not turn the ball over. You do not do the nonsense of not throwing to the open players, understanding what you're looking at each and every down. So studying and all those type of things. If we don't mature as a quarterback, we will never succeed as a quarterback.
Mm,
That's where we are with Kyler Murray. The maturity aspect of it, period, point blank.
absolutely.
Trust the eyes, trust the film, and trust the preparation. If he does those things, he should play better. Is he better or in the top 15 of quarterbacks? No. Can he play himself into the top 15 quarterbacks? Yes. He has certain traits that you can't teach. Having that shortstop background helps him a lot when it comes to stepping up in the pocket and making throws from certain platforms and things like that. The problem is he's 5'9". So at the end of the day, in this offense, with him being a midget, he has to work a little bit harder. He has to drop back a little more. The views and opinions of Germ So True are not necessarily the views of that abuse. But but the thing is, more than anything else, it's maturity. Now
Yeah.
to transition to the rookies before I pass it to Vic, the thing that I like the most about Walter Nolan was he's a player that plays with reckless abandon. The thing that I don't like about Walter Nolan is he's careless. So careless doesn't mean he's careless on the field, as in he doesn't care about making a play. Sometimes he's careless with his body, which could affect another player. So when I see you in run defense being reckless and wreaking havoc, that's a good thing. But also when I see you throwing your body around a certain way, sometimes where you're kind of lunging under other players that are on your team, especially, that becomes a little bit of be careful.
Yeah.
I just want to see him mature in that aspect because he's a really explosive player. We're not talking about a average athlete here. We're talking about a guy with elite level explosiveness. We're talking about a guy with great hand placement, great leverage. As far as Will Johnson goes, listen, I thought Will Johnson was arguably just as good as Travis Hunter, but I thought that Will Johnson was not as explosive, but I thought he was the better technician at the position. Technician, so meaning the cerebral part of the game, understanding what everybody on the field's job is in a certain coverage. So knowing his role and playing his role, understanding what the offense is doing, understanding in a man coverage situation how to not let a receiver get behind him, how to stack receivers proverbially. Big. That's a scouting term right there for people. Stacking the receiver, being able to run in front of the receiver so that they can't get around you or in front of you. understanding how to make sure that you limit certain passing lanes, understanding angles when you're covering different routes that are deeper down the field, especially those comebacks in this NFL are going to be really important. He's a sticky guy in man coverage, and he's a smart defender. He is going to be a very underrated signing for them just because of that alleged knee problem. If
Mm.
he can stay healthy, I think he is going to be a big finalist for Defensive Rookie of the Year because it's not going to be easy to complete passes on him, especially knowing how smart he is. And if they can find a way to get some pressure, that's going to make him even better. That is a player, and I'm not just saying it because he's from Michigan. He has a little bit of a Charles Woodson feel, a smart, savvy defender who is going to really thrive at getting underneath routes. Underneath routes, meaning he's going to be a guy that you're going to see like, wait, how did he find a way to get that angle right there? And it's going to be because of the preparation. Vic, I'm going to let you slide in right there.
Wait, it's a fair comparison, bro, because they're both not known for their speed. But they're known for instincts. They're known for sticky man coverage. And what I like is that, with their first round pick from last year, Marvin Harrison Jr., they're basically just refining each other's skills right now in camp.
Good
Going
point.
at it. You see the videos that they're going at it together. Those are beautiful things to see. And so like the concerns for me with the Cardinals is they didn't bring in a veteran receiver. They didn't draft anybody to help. So, it's going to be about Marvin Harrison's progression. We know he's got the talent, he's got the bloodline. Is he going to be an elite receiver? But are you also rushing him to get there already? Right? He could have used some help on the other side. You got the tight end, McBride. Is he being rushed to take that step to a elite level? Because Kyler Murray, again, you talked about his inconsistencies. I think that they're gonna have to go with a lot of short yardage routes. I think they're gonna have to go horizontal a lot. I don't know if they have the offense for that. And they're gonna have to run the ball a lot. I think Trey Benson and James Conner is a good 1-2 at the running back position. I'm gonna need that offense to go 60-40, German. I don't know if they're gonna be ready for that. You know what I mean? I don't know if they want to even do that. So there's some talent, and it sucks because you want to see explosive, great talent like that be able to succeed, but are they going to be put in position to succeed? So that's my concern with the Cardinals, man. Is are they rushing these kids to become great, and not putting players around them to help Kyler because I think Kyler's obviously already reached his ceiling.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
great
with
point.
you
Go
on
ahead,
that
Jeremy.
100%. I'm with you 100% on that. And just to add this to it as well. So Vic, this is where this air raid offense that we talk about that they run with Kyler is going to be really important, right? Because we talk about the splits being a little wider to give them better lanes to be able to see down the field and throw through. Now I want to see more of these mesh routes. But see, now we have to run those mesh routes in a certain thing. But this is where having Marvin Harrison as your number one could be a good thing. And having this offense built this way could be a good thing. Getting a big receiver like that, being able to play 5 to 15 yards away from the line of scrimmage, gives you the ability to create him understanding body positioning. And if
Mm,
he is elite at understanding body positioning, being able to
mm,
catch slants, digs, and those type of routes should be the staples in this offense for him to run, considering they know that they won't have a lot of time to work down the field unless it's with play action. So
right.
60-40 Vic might be cool, but I think they can get away with 50-50. But again, what you said was key. Horizontally,
Yeah.
let's work these mesh routes. Let's try to get some people going horizontal. And then we have tight ends and running backs that we can hit up the seam for some of the bigger gains.
Right.
Yeah.
Be creative. In the words of Bring It On, be aggressive. Be aggressive. Like let's be
Yeah.
creative, and
Well,
let's
again,
create these things for the still young and developing, quote unquote, in quotations, quarterback. Because that's the only thing that they can do.
See, that's the thing, though, is I don't think he can no longer get that label. He's going into his seventh or eighth year.
Right.
See,
It's
that's
been a
Right.
why
while.
Shout out to Cena with the air quotes. Like it's time for him to really take that next step because you were drafted number one overall. And if you're gonna be that guy, you should be able to mask all these holes that we see. And I don't know if he's gonna be, I don't know if he is. I just don't think he's that guy. And I
Right.
don't know if they have the right offensive staff to bring that out. Speaking of offensive staffs, the San Francisco 49ers, they have a great staff, top to bottom, front office, sidelines, you name it. They had some big departures this year, though. They lost Dre Greenlaw. That to me is a huge loss. They lost Aaron Banks. They lost Palomalu's cousin, Talanoa Hufanga. They lost Charvarius Ward. And we praying for Charvarius Ward, and I'm gonna say this again: no parent should ever have to go through that. He is fighting a lot of things right now just to play football internally. So just from a human standpoint, we hope he gets back to the place where football is his escape and that's his passion, and he can find some sort of solitude on Sundays. They also lost Leonard Floyd and they traded Debo Samuel away. Now, they made several additions, fellas, but nobody really notable. I mean, Demarcus Robinson, Jason Winnock, safety from the Giants, who I think will contribute, Amir Abdullah for when Christian McCaffrey inevitably is on the sideline for 4 to 6 weeks in the middle of the season. I think he's going to fill in pretty well for him. They've got Brock Purdy on a very quarterback friendly contract. I think there's a lot of things trending in the right direction for the San Francisco 49ers, but I think they're still a year away from being that team that could get back to the playoffs, that could beat some teams strictly by playing good defense and not turning the ball over. So, what I'm looking for this year out of the San Francisco 49ers, fellas, I'm looking for number one, health. I'm looking for Brock Purdy to continue to take the next steps. And really, where I'm looking at the San Francisco 49ers is the day after the Super Bowl when we start preparing for the draft and free agency because their cap situation is going to be better, their draft assets are going to be better, and they can come back next year and be in that conversation for the top dogs in the NFC. I think this year they're going to fall slightly short of that. Fellas,
Vic, I'm gonna let you go first on this one because I've kind of been taking your thunder, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's
no
not really
such
much to
thing.
say. There's not really much to say about this team, Jerome. I don't, of course, again, Brock Purdy, is he going to be that guy that you paid to take a step forward, to be a little bit more dominant? Does he have the personnel to be more dominant? They got Ricky Purcell, second round pick or first round pick from last year, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That may be able to step in and kind of cover up for losing Debo. But one guy, one guy that I like, and again, barring injury, I was talking to y'all the other day about it. He's the Hispanic version of Darren McFadden there, Isaac Guerrero. If he could stay healthy, that's an explosive running back. 4.3 speed at that size. They need to use him. He's shown already that he can break some long runs. And as between him and Christian McCaffrey, man, of course we can't expect them to stay healthy, but that would be fantastic for this team if they can rely on both of those guys, and then go off again, just run the ball, run the football, and then go off of that.
I'll only add these two things. These are my two things I'm looking for the 49ers. Debo Samuels, it was your identity on offense. But why was he the identity? Because he could get the ball at any point on the field and he was still physical and could create something out of nothing, right? So that's a sweep play. One of those, that we have the offense that does the sweep, but it's a pass play that they do where they just dump it off to the wide receiver in motion in the backfield and they just let him take off on the outside. Those are things that Debo did very well to keep this offense moving, and he was a big part of their identity. So now I'm looking for Brock Purdy to use Isaac, Christian, and Kittle. That's our new triangle offense right now. because those are the matchups that you use to get guys like Ayuk down the field on a deep over. You know what I'm saying? Because those are the routes I feel that Purdy does best. The overs, the routes that he has a guy going across the field horizontally using speed. I don't feel like he's great with deeper routes going vertical. I feel a lot of things with him is horizontal. I think he processes better with those type of things. And I ultimately think that that's the reason why Kittle needs to be a much bigger part of this offense. Kittle should have 80 catches this year. I think
100%.
I just think 80 catches is the minimum. If you don't find a way to get Kittle 80 catches this year, I don't think you're going to win more than 6 to 7 games. It's that is the key to your offense. He is your identity now. You got him and Trent. Those two guys, you should put them on one side and literally blow somebody up on that left side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's get back to make football make sense again for the San Francisco 49ers. Trenches, defense, and quarterback. That's the order. Trenches, defense, quarterback. Why I say trenches? Because both sides of the ball need to be good. The back end of the defense plays better when what is going? When the trenches are in motion. And then it gives the quarterback the ability to play off and play action.
Yeah.
And that's when the quarterback is playing at his best.
Yeah.
You do that, you can win 12 games potentially because you got two teams in this division. You're going to get four wins off potentially anyway.
Yeah, very true. Again, we'll see. We'll see how they do. It's clearly that we all have the same expectations for them. Um, Hopefully, they can rework something with McCaffrey's contract, where after next year they can cut him, and he doesn't count 13 million towards their cap, and they can go ahead and sign other players where they can fill in some stuff. I know. And then now it's not going to get to this, but in 2027, if he's on the roster as this current deal is constructed, he will count $24 million towards the cap. It's not going to get there. It shouldn't get there. But I'm very curious to see what they end up doing with Christian McCaffrey before the start of next year's league year in March. Moving on now to the last team here, the Seattle Seahawks. Not much to talk about here. They lost Geno Smith. They signed Sam Darnold. They lost DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They brought in Cooper Kupp. They lost some guys on the defensive line. They brought in DeMarcus Lawrence. They also signed Josh Jones as the guard, and they brought in Marquez Valdez-Scantling as well into their room. And then on the defensive side, they added Jerron Reed and Jonathan Hankins. Really simple for me on this one, fellas. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to be competitive. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to be above 500 at the end of the year. I think Sam Darnold figured something out in Minnesota, and he's not going to have the same type of year, but I think he's going to play closer to his ceiling than he is to his floor, and that defense is going to be very competitive. But in the end, I just think there's some things from their roster that's missing for them to compete with the upper echelon teams in the NFC. And that's my quick thoughts on the Seahawks.
Easy thing. Sam Darnold played well last year when Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw were both on the field. The moment you took one away, he got bad. And the moment you took the next person away, he got worse. So with that being said, it's really simple for me. No bookend tackles, no good Sam Darnold, no good Seahawks. We might see Jalen Milroe this year. I'm just going to be all the way honest with y'all because we know how this NFL is. Sorry, not sorry. Really don't care. Just want to let y'all know Sam is not who I am. Darnold is really getting on my nerves. Please get him out of my league. I've
Oh,
had Sam Darnold
you know
fatigue.
what? You know what? You're lucky we're on a time crunch, but we're going to pick up this conversation because the disrespect towards Sam, he has proven he can play in this league. Vic?
Yeah, I mean, I like what the Seahawks did, at least defensively, and in the draft. I think their front seven, they bring in DeMarcus Lawrence to go with Leonard Williams and those interior guys. Their front seven, they might have to rely on that defense, Germ, and they might have to rely on that running game, fellas, because I agree with Germ that offensive line is not exactly looking
Oh, it's
great.
not. No, it's not.
Um, and Greg Zabel might be able to save it, but he is a rookie. Outstanding draft pick out of North Dakota. So, Kenneth Walker, a lot of Kenneth Walker, and those running backs is probably what they're gonna have to go with a lot this season. So, gonna be interesting to see. But I see last place on this team right now, man.
In the division,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna take a bet.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make a bet on this
It's
one.
it's a tough, but we can
We're gonna make a
do that.
bet. We're gonna make a bet. We'll figure something out. We're gonna make a bet on this.
Okay.
On y'all gonna stop disrespecting my boy. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the NFC South. The beautiful part about the NFC South is we got some stuff to talk about in terms of the first two teams. The other two teams, there's not much to discuss, in my opinion, and that's kind of the reason why we wanted to conjoin the show because like some stuff we don't want to talk for 15 minutes about the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. Just not something we want to do.
So
Now,
let's just talk about them together.
let's talk about them together. The Saints, they don't have a quarterback. Okay, I don't care what you say about Tyler Shook. I think he's got some things he can do. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. You got your other quarterback throwing rugby balls on the sideline because it's a good way for him to warm up. And it's like what you remember back in the day when they were on the on deck circle and they would put that the weighted ring around it. They trying to
Mm-hmm.
compare it to that. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! All right. New Orleans Saints, they called it Voodoo Town, Voodoo Village, whatever. Bring back the brown paper bags, and I ain't talking about the ones. Never mind. I don't think the Saints are going to be anything worth looking at this year, and I hate that for Alvin Kamara. And Michael Thomas sure as hell ain't gonna come off his couch to go catch catches. Vic, Michael Thomas is still an active player on the Saints roster. Just so you're aware, he may ain't caught a ball. He ain't caught a slant in 3 years, but he's still on the roster.
Drag
Anyways,
queen.
woo! Don't say that
Um,
in 2025. Don't say that in 2025. The
yeah,
Carolina Panthers. Look, I like Bryce Young. His frame worries me. What worries me more is I think he has PTSD from what he went through. Now he bounced back very well at the end, and I am going to be watching closely to see how the offensive line is, to see how the play calling is, and to see if he can keep building on that. But other than that, again, I am not going to be watching the Carolina Panthers or the New Orleans Saints this year. You know how in Madden franchise you could sim to next season? That's what they got to do. Jump in there, fellas.
I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Them Voodoo Village black jerseys with the gold helmets and stuff, that's fire.
It
I
is.
like that. But I don't like their team. Oh no, no, no. I don't like their head coach. I don't like their team.
Facts.
I don't like nothing about them. I don't like that they in New Orleans. I don't like the juju beads that they be wearing around their necks. I don't like any of it. So I'm just gonna be honest. With that being said, give me 4 to 5 wins for this team this year until you figure out your offensive line has continued to regress every year. Everything about this team is getting older or more boring. Meanwhile, I'm a little bit more optimistic about Carolina. You showed last year that you had some ability to play some good football. Can we expand on that, please? That's all I'm asking. I'm
That's
not
it.
asking for you to be. I'm not asking for you to be a playoff team, but
Nope.
compete every week.
Yep.
Every week, make a team have to beat you, and I
Yep.
promise you that at least will get people to want to come to your team. That at least will say, "Hey, I can go here and make a difference." If you do that, the rest will take care of itself.
I
Bryce
agree.
Young, let's just take a step forward. No turnovers, and let's trust what's in front of us. Trust your eyes, son, and don't turn the ball over. Do those two things. Hand it to Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks, and try to get it to
Yep.
that wide receiver that you drafted because
No.
I don't know how much separation he's gonna get
Yeah.
with that stinky 40 time that he got. But shout out to Vic Jr.
So again, Vic, before you jump in there, I think that's important though. The prioritizing your quarterback's needs. And I think they had their priorities backwards by taking a wide receiver at 8th overall. But jump in there, Vic, on these two teams.
I mean, I might be a little bit more optimistic than you guys on the Saints. Obviously, we see what they have at the quarterback, with the quarterback situation, right? But this offense got some names on it. You still got Alvin Kamara, who clearly he still has to step. You got Chris Olave, who, a lot of injuries, but very, very talented receiver. And that offensive line, man, there's a lot of first round picks there. They're going to throw in Kelvin Banks to start at the left tackle. I'm not sure if he's ready, but other than that, man, Trevor Penning, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz. Okay, there's a lot of talent on this offense, man, and
Let me just say,
I think they
let
might
me,
end up being better than the Panthers offense, Jern. Because I mean, I think I saw a little bit of that receiver. I wanted to draft him. You talked me out of it, in one of the dynasty leagues. But I don't. Yeah, he's probably a couple years out, man. So
Yeah.
hopefully we're wrong about that. But
That's-
I think the Saints offense looks a little bit better than the Panthers, to be honest with you.
So
I'm not going to tell you
good.
that you're wrong about the offensive line, but I'll say this: they've continued to regress because I think some of the players are out of position.
Mm.
Mm,
I don't think Cesar is a guard. I think he's better as a center. That's his natural position. So I know people might say, well, guard and center are the same thing. It's not. It's
yeah.
not. There is differences. That's why it's a different position.
There is
Jackass.
differences, of course, of course.
But
There is
so
I
who's the
just
differences.
think
better
he's
guard? Who's
more
the better
comfortable.
guard?
Who's a better guard between him and McCoy?
Yeah.
I can argue and say I think they will both be in the same position. I think they both will
Yeah,
be a little out of position because I think as a center, your natural reaction. I mean, look at Cesar's measurables. Even the way like certain things about him, he has longer arms. A center with long arms is pretty damn interesting.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good to put out there, considering that's a snap and then it's a quick twitch. It's a quick twitch. Sit. And I think the long arms is what made him thrive at that position a little bit more as a prospect.
Mm,
And then Calvin Banks, bro, I don't know if he's a left tackle.
right. Huh.
His body looks like a swing tackle, which is a right tackle, or a good left guard. That's just me though.
yeah,
I like my tackles to be 6'5" and above because normally 6'5" fills out the frame a little bit better. Pause. And when I say that, they might say, well, what is an inch? An inch means a lot, ask your girlfriend. But the point I'm trying to really make in this the point I'm trying to make here is if you look at how the arm length and those type of things go when it comes down to certain things.
I was trying. I was trying to remain professional. I was
but
trying.
but but if you look at all of the intangible things about
Oh
that,
my
when it
God.
comes when it comes down to just the basic fundamentals of what a guard and the difference between a guard and a tackle, Vic, we go over this every year. This feels like the Isaiah Wynn situation to me, bro, or the Jonah Williams situation to me, where
That's
it's
tough.
That's
not a
tough.
left tackle,
Uh,
it's a
Yeah.
guard that we're trying to put as a tackle. And it's not
Right.
saying he can't do it. I'm not saying I don't think he can't do it. I'm just saying if he turns out to be a good left tackle, I think you get an all pro guard.
Yeah. And I
mm,
think I think the difference is those two guys were also going to a better quarterback situation. So I think for Kelvin, he's already kind of behind the eight ball,
That's
jumping to the
tough.
left tackle.
See, that's interesting that you said that, and I hate that you said that because that makes me want to put him at guard even more.
Even more, exactly. Shout out to everybody in the comments. I want to get to Dion's comments because he's got three very good, very, very good comments. First one is, which is his last one, is my problem with the Panthers isn't that they took a wide receiver, but they drafted another X receiver and still needed a flanker. It's a good
mm.
point. He also says Germ sound like Kendrick in Euphoria. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk, and I hate the way that you dress. I am mad that I know that reference, but shout out to the Snow Bunnies. And he also says trade Cam Jordan to the Ravens. Now, look, I'm gonna kind of roll my eyes at that one because we know why he said that, but I would love to see Cam Jordan get traded somewhere where he can be on a competitive football team. That would be very good for him to end his career sort of on a high note. But we'll see. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Travis in there, Tanya's in there, Dion's in there, Ham is in there somewhere. Shout out to everybody in the
Hey,
comment section.
and just to add one more thing too. I think Dion, I don't think you're wrong, but I'll say this: Jimmy Horn Jr. seems to be very big in the Carolina camp, so he could be the flanker. We're gonna see though, but his route running has been fantastic, as they say in camp, and they're really high on him. So I'm just gonna give you that as a little
Yeah,
bit of a spoiler for your just in case.
I get it. I get it. But like
See,
they have receivers. They didn't need a receiver. They needed beef. You could have taken that kid that the Jets ended up taking from the SEC. So he's like, you
Yeah, from
don't
Missouri. I know what
need.
you're talking
Yeah, you didn't need a wide receiver. So again, it's about prioritizing your quarterback needs, and a wide receiver at 8 is not going to translate to wins and progression and comfort for your quarterback, your young quarterback.
is that
Um,
family? Jimmy Horn and JC? Is that Jimmy Horn? Jimmy Horn, you know, is that the same family? They brothers?
They might be. It
I
might
don't.
could be possible. It's possible.
Anyway,
Not that
But
I'm
regardless,
distant
aware of,
cousins.
but yeah. All right, let's talk about another quarterback, young quarterback, second year quarterback. That I am very, very fond of. Now I know Vic, you watched a little Bijan Robinson tape, and
yes.
I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and then we're gonna turn it over to you. I got in the lab a little bit, not a little bit. I actually watched every throw, which is not saying much, from Michael Penix's rookie year. And I will say this: he needs to be a fraction better with his anticipation. Needs to be a fraction better with his footwork. Needs to be a fraction better with how quickly he goes through his progressions. What I like about him is he doesn't fall under those young quarterbacks that stick to a true progression, as they call it. He will look for his first read and then look for something else to see where his second read should be. Um, and all those things that I said he needs to be a fraction better at, I have all the confidence in the world that he can do it. Why? Because I've seen it. I saw him do it. And he just needs to be a little more consistent. Now, the one thing that kind of was tough his first week, especially Vic, you would understand this. Like, you know how like when you golf, I sure know this, the ball slices. A lot of his throws look like they're being sliced because of the, it's you just receivers aren't used to that sort of motion, that sort of trajectory of the football. But not only did they adjust, he also adjusted. There were some corner throws that I thought he missed, that I thought he was a little short on, a little long on, a little late on. But then in other scenarios, he was right on the money. Now, the one thing that I want him to be a lot more consistent in is to step up and throw. A lot of times, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to be honest here. No offense, Dion, but this is a Lamar Jackson thing that he has made trend in the league with some of these young guys, where they sort of lean up into the throw instead of step into the throw. And when he leans up into the throw, the ball sails and the ball doesn't quite have the trajectory that he needs it to be, doesn't quite have that elite ball placement. But when he steps into his throw and he gets that full range of motion and he shows us that C motion and everything is working and he's got all the energy coming from the lower body, it is, if you've seen my cousin Vinny, you would understand this reference. It is dead on balls accurate. It is right on the money. So I say all that to say, oh, sorry, last thing. There are times in the Falcons offense where the scheme is questionable. Like you got guys running the same routes. You got guys ending up in the same place. You got somebody running a hook while the guy in the slot is running an out and up. Why? That doesn't make no sense. You got two guys running a mesh concept the same way. That don't make no sense. So you got a play where you do a fake swing and you have two guys running up the same part of the field, but then the receiver on the outside runs a post. So there's a lot of things that didn't work, but Penix will work. Penix is the future. And to me,
Hmm.
what I saw from him on film combined with what they added to their defense, makes the Atlanta Falcons my official dark horse team in the NFC for the 2025 season. Jump in there, Vic.
Uh, Listen, bro, I definitely would like to sit down and watch some more Penix. Maybe we can go live and do some
I
film
got some
study on
lab
him like that.
stamps. I got some lab stamps.
Perfect, because you're not the only one that I've heard say that they're excited about his future right now, and some of the things that are concerning with this offense. I'll talk a little bit about my Bijan Robinson study. Because I was interested to find out by a guy that seems so productive in college and even already in his NFL career. Why isn't there any longer runs in his play? Why isn't there any more explosive runs? And kind of the things that I got you right now. I got kind of some of the things that you notice even in college is the patience might be a little too much. You
Yes.
know, he did run a 1.52 in his 10-yard split, Germ. So I don't know if that's something that is just he just doesn't have like this that explosive step, or is it just he just something with his body just he doesn't explode, so because you see it on film where it's like, all right, he got 7 yards, but you probably could have had 15 to 20 here. So like, yes, we want an offense that can run the football, that can have some rhythm to it, that can control the clock. But there's also times where you need a Saquon Barkley, 80-yard run, 60-yard run to kind of get defenses to be afraid of that now. And so with Bijan, as great as he is, as a running back, right? He can run, he can catch, he can even pass block. So he's definitely a three-down running back in the league, right? But I guess the explosive plays is what I'm looking for. And with the tight end struggling, who's escaping, the name is escaping my head right now.
Kyle
But
Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, where is that guy? Where's the explosive, player that we were expecting? Drake London, are we putting too much on his shoulders? I think can
No.
also be a fantastic player.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but John Robinson, as crazy it might sound, needs to take a step forward. No pun
Yeah.
intended. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
it's
Go ahead,
true. No, it's true. Well, Jeremy, before you jump in there, I wanna add two things, and then I want to pass the mic to you, and you got the floor for the rest of the segment. The the thing with Kyle Pitts, one thing that's hurting him is what he provides in the run game. And for the Falcons, the smartest player that they have in that offensive huddle is Charlie Warner, the second tight end. He is a great run blocker. He understands football. It would not surprise me if he is an offensive coordinator in the league very shortly after his career ends. Because I'm watching the tape, and he just stands out. His fundamental understanding of what he needs to do just stands out. Germ, they run a lot of trap plays with him. He is very effective with the trap plays, whether it's on a linebacker, whether it's on an edge player, whether it's on a defensive tackle. I've seen him run a trap on the C gap, on the B gap, and on the A gap. So Charlie Warner is a huge reason to me why Kyle Pitts needs to take that next step, because he's got somebody there that could teach him the finer things that he's missing. So Jeremy, I'm gonna pass it to you. You could respond to everything we said about offense, but I also know you want to talk about their 2 first-round picks. So the floor is yours, brother.
I'm gonna make this quick, because it's really easy. Like, Vic, short area quickness is Bijan Robinson's superpower, but short area burst acceleration is his weakness.
Hmm.
It's really simple. It's not saying that he can't run. It's saying it's putting that foot in the ground and being able to get up the field. That's Le'Veon Bell. You're asking Bijan Robinson to be Le'Veon Bell, right? And that's hard because acceleration is the most underrated trait for a running back his size.
Yes, that's very
That's the
true.
most underrated. Like, acceleration is so hard for guys his size because it's so much going into every movement as it is when because he's so quick. If he
Yeah.
was quick and he accelerated, Vic, you would have a whole different running back. It'd be like Le'Veon Le'Veon Bell mixed with
LT or something.
yeah, it'd be crazy. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
it's something. It's like
It-
a
it's,
trade off with him, right?
it's funny because I was talking to my boy real quick, not to cut you off.
Mhm.
Um, and he's like, man, I don't know about Bijan this year in fantasy, man. He's like, he reminds me of Melvin Gordon. I was like, what? He's like that first round pick that we know has talent, but just not explosive enough. I was like, bro,
But Melvin, but
no
see, that's the
way.
thing. Melvin was more explosive in acceleration purposes. It's just that Melvin lacks some of the short area quickness to be able to maneuver and get
Mm,
around things, or it was the IQ maybe he didn't have. Bijan understands football enough to be able to make up for the acceleration, and that's why he'll have a long career. But let's just be honest, Vic. What do you do when somebody has elite agility, but maybe not an elite burst? You put them in a downhill running scheme.
yeah,
That means I want to see pulling guards, or I want to see you run behind a fullback.
a gap
Let's
scheme.
take
Yeah,
away all the rest of this other stuff. Let's just run straight at you instead of let's do the outside zone, bro. Outside zone, there's an art to that.
yeah,
There's an art that acceleration and quickness go into each other with in the outside zone. And then it's also not even just that, it's also being able to read the tackle. Reading that tackle, bro, is the reason why most people can't run the outside zone. Is because they can't read the gosh dang on tackle.
yeah,
It's really simple. If you have the outside leverage, you take it. If you don't, you come back inside. It's really
Mm-hmm.
simple.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress. Because y'all gonna give
No,
y'all gonna piss me off already.
no,
Because
no,
they
no.
piss me off with that. Every week I see that.
So again,
But I'm
we
gonna
we
give you
have
something else funny.
good.
I actually think Bijan Robinson is a big chip for Atlanta to move to land something better. I think Tyler Algier is a better running back for that football team.
I don't disagree. I also
And
think
no wow factor. I'm
no,
just saying from
I
what they
know.
need and
No, I
how much
know.
they're gonna have to pay Bijan
yeah,
because of the name. You mean to tell
Yeah.
me Algier can't get the same 8 yards? And for $15 million cheaper?
that's why, again, that first round running back, man, it's so hard to justify, man. It's so
But go ahead, Mo. I'm
hard to
sorry, bro.
justify.
I'm sorry, Mo. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah,
No, you good. Again, I completely agree with you. I think they can very easily move on from Bijan because he is not a
He's a luxury.
necessity. He's a luxury. He is not a necessity. He's a luxury. And again, from what I saw from Penix from film, which I guess, like I said, I got some stamps for y'all. So that's really going to show some impressive stuff. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do the show like this is because we want to provide more content before September 4th. And we'll definitely bring you some running back stuff when we get ready to get into our fantasy aspect of it.
Yeah, Aaron, yeah.
So let's move on to another division now, our last division.
Hold on,
And
wait.
same, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
We didn't say anything about Tampa.
Oh my God.
But wait, one thing, real quick. First round picks this year: Walker and Pierce
Yes.
Jr. Those two players, if they develop and just give me 20 sacks between the two of them, Atlanta will win 4 more games and will be in the playoff picture.
Yeah,
Because that's the difference in that team
I
in
like
itself.
it.
I love those two players in that 34. I don't care what anybody says. It's just hard to find athletes like those two players.
Mhm.
And to be able to get both of them is very, very scary. I like that. I really want to see what they add to this. And I think 4 wins is a really, really good thing. 4 wins max. If they get 2 or 3 more wins, they're good. And my last point before we go right to the Buccaneers, and I'll just throw my point out there, Mo, and then pass it back to you for the
You
Bucks.
good, bro?
My last point, real quick, about the Falcons. Bro, Michael Penix is Drew Brees with a better arm
Oh,
and left-handed.
damn. That's
I'm
tough.
saying that because of stature, But most importantly, he makes quick decisions. And on top of that, when I say a better arm, the way he's able to push the ball downfield at 6 feet, 6'1", is not very common.
Yeah.
And he's not. This is not an air raid that they're running over there. Just to make sure we're clear, that's not an air raid. So this isn't the bigger gaps in between the linemen to see. No, this is natural progression quarterback stuff we're seeing from this kid.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional offensive type of stuff. He is elite. And I said that I liked him a lot more as a thrower than everybody out of his class because he's a natural thrower of the football.
Check
All
it
right.
out tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna watch some. Don't worry.
But go ahead,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we
Moondog
offended
stand.
Trav. We offended Trav right here. Shout out to Trav, man. We gotta keep that one
Yeah,
of our
yeah,
number one guys satisfied here. You know what I mean?
yeah. Let's
So
talk about the
the
Bucks real
Buccaneers,
quick.
real
Yeah.
quick, easy. The Bucks have the best. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's really simple. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the biggest threat to the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL. Why, Jeremy? Why do you say that, buddy? Because they have the elite defensive tackle by the name of Vita Vea. Vita Vea is the best run stuffer in the NFL. It's just not. It's not a question here. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Vita Vea is that dude when it comes to stopping the run. The other thing that I really like about them, the Levante David with the Kenny, what I believe his name is Kenny Britt, that plays on the inside with him. He was a 7th-round pick. Those two players in the middle with that triangle with those two players and Vita Vea, it makes it very hard to run on that team, especially on the interior. Shout out to Diaby, Yaya Diaby on the outside. That team is primed for them to be able to rush the passer and stop the run. If Hassan Reddick is half the player that he was before he went to the Jets and had this situation, you're going to have a problem in Tampa. Tampa's problem has always been a little bit more on the back end, which if that secondary can just hold together and Winfield Jr. is healthy, I like what they're doing there. But most importantly, on the offensive side of the ball, Baker just take care of the football and run the ball when you can in your situations and hit that stud that you have named Mike Evans, and everything will work itself out. I'm very hot. Tampa Bay is my dark horse in the NFC to be in a Super Bowl contention because they match up so well with teams like Philadelphia and any team with beef. So that's my dark horse. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Vic or Mo, whoever wants to pick it up from there.
You know, I'm always excited to talk about the baker, the cook, the chef. Okay, 41 touchdowns last year, 4,500 yards. And is it possible for him to improve off of that, Jerm? Is it
Yeah.
impossible for this offense to take even a higher step? Should I even dare to say the steps of the 2020 Buccaneers? Ooh, boy, because what's great about this team right now is at least offensively is the depth. When they first drafted the kid out of Ohio, I was like, but why? Why would you do that? Give Baker something else he might need as opposed to what he might want. But you look at it and it's like Mike Evans, he might be done for after this year. Chris Godwin, he's gonna be out on the pup list for the first couple of weeks. And then not only that, you made a great pick with Jalen McMillan. That's an underrated receiver right now that they picked in the 3rd round. So, and then the tight end, Cade Otton. So there's depth offensively. Okay. And that's not even mentioning the running backs. This team has major depth that you could even sit the Ohio State kid down. Maybe get him some reps throughout the season, barring injury, of course. And by next year, he'll be ready to be your number one or your number two. So I think the Bucks are doing an outstanding job putting a team together. They've been doing it for years, Germ. I think this front office is a front office that nobody talks about, and they deserve to definitely be talked about. Because they definitely have the scouting and the player development to get respect throughout the league. And then again, just Baker, man, like you said, don't turn over the football. Instead of 41 touchdowns, give me 45. Instead of 45,000, give me 5,000. And I think we have our Super Bowl representative out of the NFC East, out of the
Wow.
NFC conference. Let's go, Bucks.
Wow.
I like, bro. Bro, it's hard not to like them because even if, let's say, Mike, this is Mike's last year, right, guys? Let's just say that we're not saying that we want him to retire, but we're just saying, you know what I'm saying? If this is Mike's last year, you do realize with all of the injuries to Godwin can play the X. So that then just transitions those other two receivers into slot and into flanker. And then that gives them another couple of years of being able to use that trio again. Bro, I'm high on Tampa, bro.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the stuff there, man.
I am not as high as you guys exactly are. I want to be completely honest. Number one, I look at last year. One thing I did not like is they went on a 4-game losing streak at one point during the year. To me, that's never a good sign.
That's tough.
Number two, I'm not a big fan of Todd Bowles, the head coach. And number three, we'll see if Hassan Reddick plays and how he performs. I think taking a year off from playing ball for an injury is much different than taking a year off from ball just because he took a year off from ball. Totally two different things. And the only person that we've really seen do it and perform at a high level is Rob Gronkowski. So we'll see how that all goes in for Tampa. But they won the division at 9-7 last year. 9-7 is not going to cut it this year in that division. I fully expect the Atlanta Falcons to push for 10 wins, and the Buccaneers will have to push for those same 10, 11 wins as well. Shout out to my brother Trav, though. Anyways, the NFC North. We talked about Michael Penix, right? Let's talk about Caleb Williams, fellas. With Caleb Williams, to me, it is a totally different feel for me when it comes to Caleb Williams versus Michael Penix. There's some things I saw from Caleb Williams that I did not like. All right. Number one, he hesitates, whether it's the pocket, whether it's the footwork, whether it's the releasing of the football. He hesitates. Number two, his pocket awareness, his pocket ability, as we call it here at Visual 22, below par. He makes inaccurate throws, and he's got a lot of bad habits from a mechanic standpoint. He's sort of like a shortstop or a second baseman. Like he gets low when he's throwing from the side, and it's just there were some plays last year where guys were wide open, including Keenan Allen in the red zone on more than one occasion. But because of the way he's getting rid of the football, because of the way he wants to throw the football, or because of his hesitation with getting rid of the ball never made it past the line of scrimmage. So that's number one. Now, number two, his offensive line greatly let him down last year. I mean, there were times where it just seemed like they weren't blocking anybody. Some of those sacks were on him. There's no question. But when you talk about the amount of sacks that he took, the amount of hits that he took, the amount of quarterback pressures that they allowed, I am not here to criticize, condemn, or convict Caleb Williams for what he went through his rookie year. It was a very bad rookie year. He went through 2 offensive coordinators. He had a head coach with no leadership, no clock management awareness whatsoever, no situational football cognition whatsoever. It was a bad year for football in the city of Chicago. What do I expect this year? 2 things. One, I expect we see a better Caleb Williams. I expect certain things will get cleaned up because they're not deep-rooted issues. They're quick little fixes. And also the processing of the game, when that gets better, a lot of those things will naturally also get better. That's number one. Number two, actually 1A, I think Ben Johnson is going to do a lot of things to give him a lot of easy completions, some easy reads, some good schemes, and he is going to have some productive Sundays. He's going to have some Sundays where he looks really good. What I think is going to be their biggest downfall offensively this year, I think he's going to have a hard time grasping this offense. And a big reason I say that is because he had an interview and Brian Baldinger asked him, hey, give me some play calls. And he couldn't do it. He made up an excuse. Oh, I can't give you everything. Bro, you're not revealing top secrets here. You're not revealing things that people around the league don't already know. Just give us what a play call looks like under Ben Johnson. And the fact that he couldn't do it tells me a lot of things. The fact that there's reports in camp that, yes, he looks good, but there's also a lot of frustrations. That tells me it's a frustration with processing and understanding the playbook. So while I expect him to look better, I don't expect him to be good. I think he's going to take a step up, a step forward, but I think there's going to be a lot of times as well, Germ, where he's not grasping the playbook, and in turn, he's going to resort back to bad habits, and it's going to look like a lot of what we saw from his rookie year. So I expect a roller coaster year for Caleb Williams, but hopefully a year where he's not hit as much. Your thoughts on the Bears, Germ?
Bro, I'm just not excited about anything but the offensive line. I agree with you a lot about what Caleb does as a quarterback. I don't like his decision making a lot of times either. I just don't trust it consistently because there's nothing consistent about him
Right.
as a playmaker. Quarterbacks are playmakers too, right? And as a playmaker, I don't want the guy who's always when he gets in trouble, he always looks to make this big spectacular play when sometimes the right play is just to throw it away. When in doubt, throw it out. And it's too many times that we're outside the pocket, bro, and there's nothing down the field, and we're trying to make a play. Just throw it out. Live to see another down. Listen, your core job as the quarterback, and this is the young quarterback index in general. Your job is to make sure every possession ends in a kick, punt, extra point, field goal. If it
Facts.
doesn't end in one of them things, and even when a player fumbles, sometimes it's because they shouldn't have been in that situation anyway.
Mm,
Sometimes they're doing too much. I just overall will tell you that player, he bothers me with some of his habits, and I would like for him to get better with his habits overall. And that's my story. I'm sticking to that. Defensively, I will say one thing: they have some good players, but it's time that we start putting some of this stuff together.
yeah.
Like, I'm tired of seeing guys like Jalen Johnson, who are phenomenal corners, especially in the zone scheme. If why don't he gonna just go play for Pittsburgh if that's the case? Pittsburgh can play zone like they like to do, and they get an elite player in the scheme, and he'll make plays for them. Why are we
Well,
holding this guy hostage, playing for the Chicago Bears? It's time that we start asking those questions about some of these players that they have on that team. And I just want to see them put it together so we can have some quality film. And that division is already good top to bottom. Please don't be the person that bottoms out and makes it a complete waste of time. That's all I can
yeah.
ask. Let's play some
Vic?
good defense. Let's run the ball and let's do the bare minimum stuff. Caleb, take care of the ball and stop being a bonehead in certain situations. It's really that simple, bro.
Listen, man, 68 sacks taken last year. That's the third highest in NFL history. That's some extreme numbers there, Jern. So,
My
it's
back
tough
is
because,
broken. What are we talking about? A vertebrae? Spinal.
man, listen,
Bars.
there's times where I saw some of the things, you guys are saying with his hesitation, but I saw sometimes where he was scared that he might get sacked,
Mm-hmm.
or there was times where he might have taken a sack because he's afraid and he's not looking downfield.
Yes.
The last thing you want is your quarterback to be watching what's happening to him within 5 feet.
Absolutely.
That's the last thing. That's what happened to my guy Mac Jones, who I thought was an outstanding quarterback. And as we can see, he went to New England.
Oh my God.
Shout out to the way they know how to evaluate offensive line. Okay. And he started seeing ghost. And it would suck for the amount of talent that they put around Caleb for him to start seeing ghosts, already seeing ghosts. They improved the interior. They got two guards in the center, who they spent quite a bit of resources on. And then, as much as I would have preferred they do that in the draft germ, where they go with more beef on the offensive line. They did draft a tight end and a receiver to help in terms of the weapons. So you know, I think with a little bit more protection, we'll get a better feel for what type of quarterback Caleb might be. Hopefully, maybe even throughout the season, we can study him a little bit more as the season progresses and see what any changes, if the changes are helping. But they definitely gotta take a step forward the offensive line, because I mean you can't hit lower than rock bottom, that they did last year. So so again, better offensive line, more running game, and see where we go from there, because I think the
Yeah.
defense is gonna play well as well. So
Yeah.
Let me ask a
So
question, real quick.
uh,
Real quick question. Ask this to the panel right here, and also for everybody in the comments. Fun little question. If Jalen Daniels goes to the Bears, opposed to, and Caleb Williams goes to the Washington Commanders, is the outcome for the two players the same?
it's,
no for either.
yeah, you can make the case that because Jaden likes to run and is capable of running, he could be hurt.
Yeah, I think it would go bad for Jaden, and I think it wouldn't go as good as it did for Caleb. Like, I think
Right,
Jaden wouldn't do as great. I think he would be a little better than Caleb, maybe, but like Vic said, possibly
right,
hurt. And I don't think Caleb Williams would have transcended the Washington Commanders the way
right.
Jaden
That's
Daniels
yeah, that's a good way
transcended
to
the
put it.
Washington Commanders. Yeah.
Right. Like they probably would have not been a playoff team,
Right.
So
That's why I'm asking, because altogether, just to agree with both of you, I think that Jaden would have been better for the Bears, but Caleb
mm.
would have not been better for the Commanders, especially with the weapons. At least the Bears got 18 tight ends.
So we can agree that Jaden is just a better quarterback.
100%.
I I
Yeah.
can I can honestly
100%.
say that because he's the better quarterback, playing with Keenan Allen is not something that you just throw that away. That's an extremely good thing. And I just think with
Yeah.
Keenan Allen's route running ability and with Jaden's ability to study, I thought that would have been a really good and interesting combination. That's all.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about stuff like that later. Let's get to the next team, Mo. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's go. We get the Detroit Lions and then the Green Bay Packers. Not much to talk about because we are going to do other things where we can highlight the Lions and the Packers more. Really simple for me in terms of the Lions outlook. I think people are underestimating losing two coordinators, two prime premier coordinators, two guys that understood the pulse of the game, the pulse of the team, and knew what to call, when to call it, how to call it. Don't be down there looking like a bobblehead. I think the Detroit Lions are going to regress this year. And listen, if Bill Belichick couldn't do it, Dan Campbell's not going to be able to do it. You're talking about things out of camp coming out saying that they're going to be passing the ball more, that they're converting to more of a spread offense type look, that Jameer Gibbs is lining up on wide receiver more than they saw him line up all of last year. Those things are alarming. And Jared Goff needs a good script to play close to his ceiling. All right. And I think he's going to regress this year. I think he's going to have some tough times this year. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not coming on here to say, oh, yeah, guys, they only won 13 games. That's a regression. Nah, 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 nah. Mr. Big Chest, I think the Detroit Lions are going to have a tough time getting to 10 wins in the 2025 season. Fellas.
All I got to say is I don't want to see more passing than they did last year. I don't want to see more. I would actually like to see more of that outstanding running game that they got with those outstanding running backs, more than anything else. Jamison Williams is one of the fastest human beings in the world. So how about we utilize him in the play action game, and we utilize him and let him continue to show you that he's improved as a route runner. I think that should be the biggest difference in that offense. Is Jamison Williams should be just as important as Amon-Ra St. Brown. and to that offense. And I think the biggest winner in this offense this year should be tails.
Hmm.
That means I'm talking about Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah. I figured.
I don't care. I'm not calling them to Sonic because we're not doing all that extra stuff. I'm calling them tails. Why?
Okay.
Because all you see is tails when he's running right past you. There you go. That's how it goes. That's how his legs look when he be running. Like tails is tail. That's how it
Yeah.
looks. At the end of the day, bro, I want everybody to understand Detroit is a good team, but regression is natural because you're not going to win 15 games 2 years in a row, especially in the situation and circumstance where last year the 4 games that you won in your division against the next 2 teams we're going to talk about, the 4 games that you won one of them because Sam Darnold is trash. You won the other one because Sam Darnold made some crucial mistakes. But then the other 2 games that you won in Green Bay, Jordan Love just didn't get out the gate fast enough
Yeah.
in both of those games. I'm being completely honest with
Great.
y'all. That is the difference in that whole division. Is that guy that plays in Green Bay is the division outlook master. He is the person that would decide the fate of that entire division.
Don't look that way, Vic. He's right. Jump in there, Vic.
I mean, I guess I'm a little bit more excited about the Lions this year than you guys were. It's funny because you were excited about the Lions in 2024 off season while we were doing these shows. You were a big Lions fan. So I think there's not much change, right?
Right.
And I think that's a good thing. I think the coach is gonna get better. I think the offensive line is going to get better. I think the running backs are going to get better. I think the receivers are going to get better. I see a lot of progression from this football team. Now, yes, they
I
have a
like it.
quarterback that may have reached his ceiling. We have a quarterback that maybe is a B-minus player in the league, but it was good enough because they have beef. It was good enough because they had the running game. It was good enough because they had the receivers and the tight end who became a special tight end in this league. So yes, 15 games might be a lot, but I see 14 games. I see 14 wins. I see 13 wins. I see a division leader. I see an
Okay.
NFC leader. Okay. So you guys are crazy, you guys are out of your damn minds, so no, but it's this is a team that runs the
Oh
football.
my
I am a
God.
fan of teams that like to run the football. Jamar Gibbs might just start to take more carries this year because again he's a natural pure runner, and that's not taken away from the number 2, but fantastic draft pick there. Even though it was a first round pick, right? He was a first round
Yeah.
running back. He's so far he's playing well, and they had to beef around him to at least justify the pick. So
Facts. Facts.
Well, at the time, Vic, to be fair with them, to be fair for the Lions, when they
yeah,
drafted him at Jameson, bro, I'm gonna be honest, bro. They didn't have the same star power that they had at the time right now. Like if they
yeah,
didn't draft him, who were they gonna draft in that type of
Exactly.
scenario? So
Yeah.
it
right,
was like they needed to play. The thing about Jameer Gibbs that justifies him being a first round talent is he doesn't leave the field. He shows you he's gonna pass block. Remember, if you cannot pass block, you are not a first round pick,
yeah,
Facts.
especially at that position. Also, if you leave the field on third down, you're not a first round pick. Those 2 things is what make him a first round pick. And then on top of that, for him to be under 200-pound running back, he runs with much better balance and power than a lot of these guys that are 220 pounds.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
he's a
I'm
great
with you,
player,
Vic.
man.
I wanted to just throw that in there to give him his flowers because
Yeah.
remember, you don't see guys with that type of wiry frame and that small be that powerful. You know what I'm saying? And that's a testament to his training regimen. What he does it when the cameras are not on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the outstanding tackles that they have at the end, the guards and center. I mean, this is still a very good offense, and I would be surprised if they took a major regression back to
Okay.
about 9 to 10 wins. I just don't see the progression with the other teams that we're about to talk about here. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys have to say about them.
Yeah, so as far as the Green Bay Packers are concerned, we'll leave the Vikings to the end. Again, we kind of want to go rapid fire. The Green Bay Packers, to me, again, continuity is a major thing, and they got a lot of guys coming back. They drafted Matthew Golden, who I think is going to be an absolute star. There were moments where I really feel like he is the best receiver to come out of that draft. Not counting Travis Hunter, but I think he has the potential to be even better than the potential of Travis Hunter. That's just how I feel about him. I think he's got speed, explosive, he can catch, and he's going to do a lot of good things for this offense where Jordan Love now has options. And as a quarterback, you like options. Josh Jacobs, pound for pound, the most physical runner in the league, pound for pound. And then defensively, I think this defense, I know everybody's talking about the loss of Jair Alexander, and he's going to be a very good addition for the Baltimore Ravens. But the Green Bay Packers, the front seven is improved. The secondary is going to be decent. The Green Bay Packers not only have a chance to win their division, if Jordan Love can play within the shadows of his predecessors, I think they can reach the Super Bowl, personally. Fellas.
I'm gonna make it easy and I'm gonna set Vic up. Jordan Love is to the NFC what Pat Mahomes is to the AFC.
Oh my God.
Jordan Love is the NFC Pat Mahomes. So at the end of the day, if he decides that he wants to play A plus football, nobody will beat Green Bay. Period. That team is on that quarterback's back. If you want to shoot out between him and Mahomes, I would love that Super Bowl. Love Mahomes 85 or better for a Super Bowl. Let's go. Elite quarterback play only. Players only, baby. Let's go. That's all I need to say. I don't need to say anything else. Mo, you summed up everything else with the returning players. It's just that simple. One more time, Vic, because I need to see your face one more time. Jordan Love to the NFC is Pat Mahomes to the AFC. If Jordan Love plays A plus football or plays anywhere near where Pat Mahomes plays, he will beat Philadelphia because they have the quality beef on both sides to push both of those big behemoths around that they have. But most importantly, Philadelphia is not a team that wants to score more than 24 points on a consistent basis. They are a ball control team. Jordan Love can make it all I see is fireworks. And when you see fireworks, what that mean? Touchdown.
Go ahead, Vic. Say
You
what you
done?
got to say, Vic.
Is you done or is you finished?
Oh, my God, bro.
Listen, that's some high bar to set for Jordan Love. Okay. I think the talent is there. He obviously exceeded expectations, especially from a guy coming from a Division II program. Um, he has the tools around him. He has the players. He has the receivers, the running backs. Does he have the offensive line? And does he have that ability, right? From a mentally processing what's going on in front of him, right? As a pocket passer, because he is a pocket passer. Do we agree to that? Is he a pocket guy? Does
Keep
he
coming.
have that mental capacity to be able to take that step forward and not only win the division, but be a top three team in the NFC? Can he beat the Philadelphia Eagles with his arm? Can he beat the Cowboys with his arm? Can he beat the
You just
Detroit
had to throw the
Lions?
Cowboys in there. See, I was gonna let you go until you threw the
Wait,
Cowboys in there.
the Detroit
Get
who?
your ass out of here.
Can he beat the Detroit Lions in his division with his arm if they need it? Okay. Matthew Golden in the
Okay.
first round. I like the player, but how much better is he than the guy they had on the other side, Isaiah Bond, that we spoke about? How much better is he, Jern? How much better is he, Germ? Is he a first
There you
round? Is
go.
he a second round pick? We'll see. We'll see. But they definitely needed to replace Christian Watson. But did they replace Christian Watson with a Christian Watson type of skill set?
Well,
Because now I see
That is interesting that you said that, and
now
I
I
thought you
see
would
now
go
I see
here.
three of the same guy, Germ. Romeo Dobbs
Jaden Reed.
and Jaden Reed to go along with Matthew Golden.
Well,
Is he
hold
the
on.
vertical threat? Is he the vertical threat?
Well, two things. First question: why did they have to replace Christian Watson?
Too many injuries. Too many injuries, too many drop passes. The talent is there. He's just, again, what is a receiver supposed to do?
So
Catch the damn ball.
I'm gonna give Vic this though. It is a similarity with the way that Golden can be used in that offense with him because of the
Okay.
speed factor. The
Well,
speed factor is what they use Christian Watkins for a lot more. The only difference is we wanted more out of Christian Watkins because he was 6'4".
Yeah.
yeah,
So again,
X receiver.
I
Is
think
Yeah.
the whole
Matthew an X? And does he have deep ball
yes.
consistency
The
in the
second
NFL?
question, yes. Is he
Yes.
an X? That
No.
remains to be seen.
No, he's not an
Right.
X.
So again, I think the whole point of drafting somebody like him is he becomes your number one option, but you now put a lot less pressure on those other three guys because they're not meant to be the lead actors in a play. They're meant to be role players. But they now can say, "Hey, young buck, this is your room, and we are going to be here to provide you with what you need in order to succeed." So I understand your questions, I understand your concerns, but I think he alleviates so much pressure from the other receivers that it's going to lead into better production and better health, hopefully. So
Is Jordan Love better than Dak Prescott?
Yes.
yes.
That was a quick yes.
I
Yes.
need you. I need
Is
you to
he better
understand
than
one
Matt
thing.
Stafford?
Yes,
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
but
That's
here's the
tough.
reason why I say yes fast. Matt is that old reliable car that we're starting to see some breakdowns,
Is he
and it's
better
not.
right now? Maybe, but is he better
But
like I don't know. That's tough.
so we're talking right now. Right now, in that situation, you give him Sean McVay. I guarantee you, Jordan Love would improve 6 years as a quarterback in 1 year.
Yeah.
That is a big thing too. So I'm
Okay.
not saying that LaFleur is bad. I'm saying there's levels to this, and I'm saying McVay with a quarterback, I think, is one of those whisperers that can get the most out of a quarterback, even more so than
Okay,
that.
so right, but who's that for him right now in Green Bay?
See, here's the problem with the LaFleur situation. I think LaFleur sometimes when they script certain things for him, I don't think the scripts always work well for Green Bay. I actually think that Jordan Love, oh my goodness. See, now y'all, I'm in my bag today. Bag is right here on the bed too. Listen, Jordan Love has a lot of Big Ben to him. Stop giving him all of these scripts and stop and let that man play football. Because the natural things that he's doing when he's directing traffic, when he understands what he's doing in no huddle, in those type of up tempo speed situations, those are the times that we're getting the best out of him. And when that Pittsburgh offense went into stuff like that, that's when they became more explosive. And that's also the things that made them hard to be. Think about even though they didn't win a Super Bowl in that way, that made New England hard to defend when they had Brady in 2012 with that season with 2011 with Aaron Hernandez and Gronkowski and all of those things, and because the up tempo, constantly keeping the defense on the field. That's what Jordan Love can bring, and especially with that running back being a 3 down running back as well. Bro, I'm high on Jordan Love for a reason, bro. I'm not just saying that just to say it.
I get it. I get it. I don't like there's some guys right now that have taken a step forward. Jalen Hurts. What is it? I know Jalen Hurts is a different quarterback, right? He kind of
Mhm,
has his own different class, right? He's a guy that can
mhm.
that can run the football, but he's improved as a passer. But is he an elite passer? Jalen has his own category because there's so many things that he's not only improved on, right? But he's
Good at
just natural, right? Natural leader, passion,
natural
just
winner.
all kinds of everything. So, is Jordan Love that kind of guy? Is he going to take a step forward to be a better, pocket passer?
Yeah.
Because he ain't going to run like Jalen.
So let's move on, and let's end it here. We'll get out of here in the next 7 minutes.
Yes.
Quick point. Dion Reed said Utah State isn't Division II, but I get what Vic is saying. And he
Was it
says
Utah State?
mistake-free football. I'm not sure. Did he go to Utah State?
I thought it was
Anyways,
North Dakota.
no,
No,
no.
He's Utah State.
Yeah,
The person that was
yeah.
North Dakota was Carson Wentz.
And then Josh
Uh,
Allen was from Wyoming. Uh,
Wyoming.
he also says mistake-free football from Love and more consistency from the receivers catching the ball, and they can be scary. Another quarterback in that division with a lot more questions than answers is JJ McCarthy. Now I got to get more deeper in the lab on this guy, but from my initial studying and my hypothesis is this: I think there are times where he is going to flash. I think there are times where red zone is going to cut away to Minnesota, and we're going to see a big ball to Justin Jefferson for a touchdown, and there's going to be some hype here and some hype there. My issue is I didn't see too many NFL throws from my initial watch, from my initial study of JJ McCarthy. Now, again, full disclosure, I got to get back in it. I got to get deeper in it. Your hypothesis isn't always the conclusion. But my hypothesis right now, Germ, is that there are going to be some things in the NFL that he's going to have a very hard time with.
Hmm.
And for fantasy owners, while Justin Jefferson will continue to produce, probably not at the same volume that he's been producing for you. Those are my thoughts on the quarterback. Defensively, and this is all I have to say on the Vikings. Brian Flores is a really, really, really good defensive coordinator when he has a secondary. There are hesitations for me and concerns for me that this year his secondary will be left exposed. They will be left vulnerable. So while I like Kevin O'Connell and the Jets were dumb to cut him and keep Nate Clemens over him, and who's the dude that went crying over Deflategate? Mark Brunell. That's the Jets for you. I think the Vikings are in for a long year, looking at about 5, 6 wins maybe. And I totally agree, Dion. Without a good running game, I have a lot more skepticism than optimism about JJ McCarthy. Germ?
This is easy for me. He comes from a team where he ran the football very, very well. So we know what he is. He's a play action quarterback. He'll protect the football and those type of things. You're going to put him in a situation where you're going to ask him to throw more if you can't run the football. If they get behind early in the game, you're going to probably put him in a bad situation. So anybody in the league, especially teams in their division, I would get up on them early. I would try my damnedest to put 21 points on them at minimum in the first half because I want to make this kid have to throw the ball. A lot of things that I'm seeing in training camp, bro, are a lot of underthrown passes, a lot of things where he's not understanding what coverage people are playing, and part of it is disguise will be the thing that will be the thing that will probably bother him more than anything else. Because I don't think he's really the type of quarterback that goes through the natural or as they say true progressions these days. I think he's a one or two read guy and plays with his back to the defense, meaning handing the football off. It is what it is. I don't have a high expectation for this team, I like a lot of the players on it. I think the beef is really good. Darisaw will be back at some point, and so will O'Neal, and I'm looking forward to both of them. But
Really.
besides that, bro, I don't see much from this team. I just don't.
Vic?
Yeah, I mean, same thing, Jerm. They got the tackles, who are probably the most agile, most impressive in space and in terms of outside zones and screen plays and stuff. So that offensive line, definitely they drafted Donovan Jackson to play guard. So that offensive line is definitely one of those where like it's fun to watch in terms of like how their ability to speed and agility to get out in space. But other than that, I mean, it's again quarterback play is going to be tough. So that's why I feel like the Lions are still going to win this division, because I think the Vikings are going to be 2 wins right there for them. I think the Bears will be 2 wins for them right there, and I dare say even the Packers. I think the Lions will take 2 wins there. So I got the
Awesome.
Lions winning the division. So that's already what 2, 4, 6 wins right there for them.
Wow. Wow.
So real quick,
Wow.
Go ahead.
Minnesota, if you really want to have fun with this situation, I'm gonna give you the keys to the playoffs in this year and next year. Call the Atlanta Falcons and ask them what would it take for you to get Tyler Algier, or what do they want for Bijan Robinson? Really
Mhm.
simple. You put one of them behind that offensive line, and
Exactly.
that immediately double, triple your business. It's just really simple, bro. Because Bijan is the player you probably want to go for because he's the one that affects the young quarterback the most.
Yeah.
He's the one that's going to give you the safety blanket out of the backfield. You got TJ Hawkinson already as a tight end. You get Bijan with TJ Hawkinson for that young kid with Justin Jefferson, that double triple your business. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not a GM, but in the words of Big Shot, it costs nothing to pick up the phone and make a phone call.
All right. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. Shout out to you fellas. I wanted to go an hour 45. We went a little above that. That's okay. We covered a lot. Still a lot more to cover. We got some things coming down the pipe that are going to be really fun, different type of shows, some things that we haven't done as much of, particularly fantasy. We got our big preseason show. So we got some fun stuff planned. We're going to try to do some lab stuff as well before the season comes around. Just tell your friends, tell everybody, just make sure you're in the group. That way you don't miss anything. We got some things coming down the line as a whole, from as the whole scene umbrella has some really exciting things happening, and we're just kind of working to get it there. But we appreciate all the support. We appreciate all the love. Make sure to stay on the lookout. TikToks, Instagram, we coming. Take us home, True.
22. See you later in the week.